Hi, it's Khali here. I want to talk about, to me, what is like a really practical side of love, which is appreciation. I think appreciation is a super important skill to get good at, to have the people around us feel loved. And I think there's like a particular kind of artfulness and elegance that we can have in our appreciation, particularly around kind of noticing, the specific ways in which somebody impacts us positively. So noticing the specific qualities about somebody and how those qualities manifest in specific actions. Because it's when we can notice these specifics that people can actually, receive the specifics of what it is about them that kind of has that positive impact. And it's to me in this way that we essentially esteem each other. And I think this is, really super important. It's kind of in the esteem of each other and of course esteeming ourselves. I think self-appreciation is really, really important here. That we learn to feel good about ourselves and we learn to kind of have robustness and have like positive reference points about ourselves such that we can kind of interpret the world from a constructive place. Because if we have these positive reference points and feel good in ourselves and who we are, then if something hard happens to us, we don't get a result that we like, or we get some constructive and more kind of negative style feedback, then these positive reference points are going to have us like be able to like not kind of collapse, in hearing these things or having this experience. We're not going to like collapse into a sense of like, I'm not good enough, I'm a bad person. And, of course it's important to like really be able to take feedback in, and sometimes constructive feedback really hurts. But if there's enough of a reference point of self-esteem and kind of acknowledgement and understanding of just like how we're good, and we're all good, we're all intrinsically good, then the more that we can just like respond positively to that. So this has been something that's quite important for me as a parent, like giving my kids appreciation to esteem them. For quite a while now I've been doing a good night, kind of like a game with my kids where we basically tell each other, guess how much I love you. And it's super sweet. We kind of each night take a turn. I'll say it and my daughters will say it. And typically the guess how much I love you answers are like, I love you, bigger than the sky, or like more than the stars, or as much as butterflies are beautiful, all these kind of things. And it's like a beautiful game, and I've like loved doing this. We've kind of done it for a few years now. But recently I've started to actually shift this game and to start to introduce instead the sentence, guess what I love about you. Because this to me is actually a more practically useful, in a sense, question. It's a question that gets us more to these specific things that I'm kind of talking about, that we can appreciate about each other. And I'm like, it's only kind of a week or so in of me starting to shift doing this with my kids, and it already feels quite satisfying. Like last night, Lola, my oldest daughter, said, I love that you want to teach me things, Dad, and that it's important for you that I learn things, and hearing this feedback from my 9-year-old was just like so beautifully touching, and so, I just really loved receiving that, and also in the other direction, where I can start, sharing, kind of more specifically the beauty that I see in my children, and the ways that I kind of feel lit up by how they smile at me and how they look at me, and how kind of much joy I feel when they're being silly and kind of playing games and joking around. And I think in the future I'll probably even start like shifting it more again, particularly as they get kind of older and they get more used to playing with this appreciation structure. You know, ideally, I'd like to even get to the place of like, when you blank, when you did something, you know, I felt blank, felt a particular way, you know, like when you helped me with my homework the other night, I felt loved, or I felt relief, you know. It's kind of, because this kind of level, this is like even more specific, and it's this kind of, once again, this level of specificity that I think really it has the kind of most, you know, tangible sense of understanding how we're kind of positively impacting each other, you know, from which we can kind of come into a higher sense of esteem. The last thing I want to say around this topic is I want to reference research by the famous relationship researcher John Gottman. John Gottman is like one of the most quoted relationship researchers in the world, and he's particularly known for his ability to predict if a marriage is going to stay together within like 15 minutes of watching the interactions within a marriage, you know, the interactions within the people in the marriage. And most of his predictions basically are based on observing the interactions within the couple. And one of the key elements is actually the ratio of positive to negative interactions. Now he has like quite a bit of detail about like what those things mean, which I don't fully want to go into here. But the part that I do want to speak to is that basically successful relationships have a ratio of positive to negative interactions of 5-1. And any relationship which has less than that, if it's like 4-1 positive to negative interactions, it's actually considered a negative relationship. You know, and that's really interesting to me. You know, and to me, what that speaks to is that you know, appreciation is like so important. We need to be like appreciating each other a lot. You know, and I think constructive feedback is super important. Like I want to receive that feedback so I can keep growing and, you know, see my blind spots. But it's if I have that level of appreciation in my relationships such that I feel good in those relationships, that I'm like being esteemed by the people around me, essentially, which is going to have me be able to hear the constructive feedback. I'm going to have that kind of positive set of reference points to be able to take it in. You know, and if that ratio starts to go down, basically it can very easily start to feel like heavy. You know, it's like, I just like feel like I'm being criticized all the time. And really kind of a more kind of constructive critique style feedback, basically, I think generally speaking, it impacts us a whole lot more. You know, we kind of feel the heaviness of those negative or whatever constructive comments, and so it's like we remember those a whole lot more. They kind of they're louder in our experience because of, you know, where it might hurt or whatever. So if there is that kind of 5-1 style ratio, there's like enough kind of money in our like relationship emotional bank account, in a sense that, you know, when a kind of constructive comment comes along, then, you know, the withdrawal or the impact of that is not going to like take us out. It's not going to do possible damage to the solidity and the beauty of a connection that we have with somebody. And I think what's even more kind of, you know, makes a bigger difference as part of that kind of relational accounting, in a sense, is also just like the quality of the positive interactions, which is what I'm speaking to here. You know, like how specifically we can get in terms of what the appreciations are. There's one extra little piece that I'm present to here, which is also that, in a sense, there's always opportunity for appreciation. There's always opportunity to appreciate, you know, how someone's being. To like for me, there's this place of being able to kind of like have like larger perspective, have more vast perspective, and to watch kind of, you know, the beauty inherent in any person. You know, like there's like a practice I like called golden eyes, which is like a practice of this, of like seeing people through golden eyes, seeing that beauty, seeing the kind of essence of who they are, and just like seeing the poetry of that essence being expressed in all the little things. And I think this is such a powerful perspective to start practicing, you know, so that every little seemingly insignificant thing can be perceived and responded to with a sense of appreciation, you know. And then it's like actually, to me, I receive a lot when I am coming out of that place too, because I'm in the joy of actually appreciating somebody. And I love this thing of, you know, when I love somebody, I also get to experience the love, right? If I'm appreciating somebody, I also get to experience appreciation. You know, and so then you know, from this kind of attitude of actually being able to appreciate people whenever, all the time, you know, and kind of come from this place of having golden eyes, then like reaching this 5-to-1 appreciation ratio becomes super easy, you know, because, you know, maybe we're not like always like verbalizing it, but we can just have it in our demeanor and the non-verbals of how we're responding to somebody. We're like welcoming who they are, and we're like kind of responding just with the sense of appreciation in our being. So this is, I think, a beautiful practice, a really, really important practice, both kind of learning how to be very specific in our appreciations and generally just coming from a perspective of appreciation. And it's something that I am really keen to keep imbuing into all of my relationships and all my friendships, and to keep creating culture around, both kind of culture of practice that we keep getting better at, but culture of just like living this way, so that we're kind of immersed in a way of being together that has us feeling good about ourselves and each other. So I highly encourage you to also adopt such a practice. Thank you for watching.